28 inches was the
Oh, gee.
6:30.
We go by the clock on the wall.
I'm not sure. It's in our
I haven't done it. Can I? I have two.
It is on the back. Well, I think they may have brought it, they've already brought it to the front. Mr. Jack, Mr. Jack, Mr. Jack, could we have that sign-in sheet? It's all over with. Do you really want it?
6:30.
It's 6:30, so nobody else can sign it.
We're through.
You're done? How are you? Okay.
Everybody, please wind down a little bit. The regular meeting of the River Plantation Municipal Utility District, please come to order. And the first item of business we have is to confirm the minutes of prior meetings. Actually, we've had three: August the 22nd, September the 5th, and September the 16th. Has everybody looked at those minutes?
Is that a typo on the September 16th, or was it on September 10th?
I was saying, I didn't think we had one the 16th.
September 10th.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Was it corrected?
It says September 10th on the minutes, so it's correct on the minutes.
They appear to comply with the new regulations. If there's no objections, we'll take them in order. On the August meeting, is there any discussion?
No.
Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes as written?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes for the August 22nd meeting as written.
A second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Next item is in the first September meeting. Of the 10th. That was a tax
That's
meeting.
right here.
Lasted all of 5 minutes, I think.
Correct.
Well, we have one on, you can do them in order, or you want the one on the 5th or the one on the 10th?
Well, try the one on the 5th first.
I'll make a motion that we accept them the way they are.
All in second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor of accepting the minutes of September 5?
Aye.
Please designate.
Aye.
Aye.
Fine. Pass unanimously. The 10th, which was a tax meeting.
I'll make a motion that we accept them as written.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Got so much paperwork here, Richard, I don't know what to do with it all. All right. Our next item of business is receive comments from the public. Some people have said they want to talk, some people said no, they didn't want to, and other people said they didn't say, one way or the other. Gloria Jones, you're first on the list.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Hello. My name's Gloria
By
Jones.
the way, excuse me just a minute.
I know you don't have your hearing aids in, and
There
I'm
he
not.
goes.
Excuse
Oh, he
me.
does? You do?
Excuse me.
Good.
Just
Okay.
a moment, please.
That's why I'm not yelling at you.
Since there's so many people here, we're gonna limit the discussion to 3 minutes each. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. What I really want to comment about, you're going to discuss under item 8. Are you going to allow me to come back after you discuss item 8 and make my comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you're telling me I have to make my comments before I can hear what you've done?
That is correct.
Okay, well, since you won't tell me what you have done up to this point with regards to the repairing the ditch.
It's been in the minutes. It's been in public hearing more
Well,
than once.
okay, well,
In
I-
fact, your husband got a
Yeah.
rather detailed description the last time he was here.
Well, I need something that, my meeting with the Corps of Engineers, we need your SWG number, please. That's the number that you.
That's the number you can call Richard and get.
Richard, I do need that because I have a meeting with Corps of Engineers and I'm gonna need that. And Governor Abbott needs it too.
It's fine.
So, okay. Thank you, and we look forward to your comments.
Next item, Betty Brown, no. Donna Smith, Dolores?
Yes, okay. I just want to comment, I want to commend the directors for voting with the people.
Speak up a little bit.
I'll try, okay. I want to commend the directors who voted for the work on Charleston. The people wanted a park, or they wanted it cleaned up, and 4 of you voted for that. Jack, you voted no 3 different times. Can you explain why?
I'm against it.
Why?
It's my personal opinion.
Okay, let me get to my next one. Are we in an adversarial relationship with the owner of Charleston and the MUD? I mean, is this,
We are no longer.
well, I guess I'm concerned that we're using the same engineer. I don't know why we need to use the same engineer that he's using.
I don't know that he's using.
He is. And so why are we?
Are you aware that we have an engineer here from Blau?
I'm not aware of the I'm Travis Walker with Blau Engineering, just for those of y'all who don't know me. I'm not aware of the Charleston project. If there is something going on, I can find out when I get in the office tomorrow
That's
morning
fine.
and see if it's our other.
I'm not aware of anything either, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I just think that's kind of a conflict of
In
interest.
fact, I
with me.
think John at one of his appraisals, at one of our hearings, said he was not.
Anymore?
Actually, I think he did say that
I'm
at one of the
pretty sure he
open
did.
meetings.
In one of the open
Yeah.
sessions that we had.
Okay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Okay, I've got one that's a rumor, but I've heard it from a few different segments, so I just want to throw it out at you, see what your comments are. The reason that you guys wanted to do the meters and spend $500,000 plus every month an expense was so we wouldn't have enough money to buy Charleston. Now, any comment on that?
No.
Well, I've heard that from various segments, so,
From the
from
board?
the public. The
From anybody
public.
on the board?
No, the public.
The public, what would they know?
What would they know?
Yeah.
Well, if they know what's going on here, yeah, they're
That's
wondering
it.
why we're
I
getting
mean,
meters when we don't need meters.
Are you saying that they can read our mind?
It was mentioned here as far as the meters, and we were wondering why
The
to.
recommendation by the engineer was to buy the more advanced meters. That was the recommendation from the engineering firm. Their estimate of the cost was somewhere in the added, around $500,000. Okay? The replacement of the meters as they now stand is quite a bit less. It's $150,000, $125,000 less. Okay? That's the only comment that I have. That's the only comment I know about.
Okay.
Rumors are
Yeah, I know.
rumors.
Well,
And
give me your
that's-
rumor, so.
and they're worth what they are. Anyway, next, are you through?
I'm done, yes.
Laura Austin.
Oh, Laura Austin. Oh, I just signed in. I don't have any comments. Do we have any comments?
You're just listening.
No. Yeah. I just saw sign in.
Sometimes we learn more by that than we do opening our mouth, don't we? C.W. Austin, that's your husband, I assume, or your better,
Signed in, we're here.
your better half?
Yeah.
They're present.
Ron Finter.
Yes. I'm Ron Finter. I live at 714 Stonewall
Yes,
Jackson
sir.
Drive, right next door to Laura and them. I wrote this easy place to ask this question out. Mine's a question. The ditch that runs behind our house there, the concrete ditch between us and the golf course, are y'all the one that handles the cleaning of that, or is that RPCIA?
No, the Bud District is in charge of the ditch,
Okay.
or was.
Well, that's okay. Well, I didn't know. That's the reason I'm asking.
Right now, everything is in a state of wait and see. The Corps of Engineers, we had a FEMA grant of something over $500,000 to repair the ditch. That was held up by virtue of the fact that they wanted to consult with the Corps of Engineers to see if proper permitting had been in place. It was not. Now the Corps has imposed a number of requirements and restrictions going back to laws dating in 72, new laws during 80, another law in 90 something, and as a result we are prohibited from doing anything in that ditch, and if we did, we'd be subject to a $25,000 a day fine.
So cleaning it out right now is not going to be.
That's exactly one of the points, that's what we're talking about. We can't get in there and do anything.
Who can?
Pardon?
Who
Nobody,
can?
yeah.
I would assume the all-powerful Corps of Engineers could do whatever they dang well please, but we can't.
Okay.
So there's no plans to do anything to the ditch?
Oh, yes, sir, we have all kinds of plans. It's just we can't implement them. The government has got to stamp it.
And who's the one communicating with the Corps of Engineers?
Yeah.
We have an application, we have a whole dissertation, if you will, on a letter from the Corps of all the requirements. The first requirement that they require, we're waiting on now, is a stream assessment. That has to be done by an environmentalist. Okay? That's in progress. That's just another $12,000, $15,000 out the window. After that, it'll be another study. After that, there'll be some public hearings. After that, there'll be some public notices. This will drag on and on. Our problem is going to be whether or not FEMA will allow those funds to sit in place beyond the 30-month period that they were supposed to be spent. That is our biggest problem we've got. I've enlisted the aid of Kevin Brady, but even he and his people run away from the bureaucrats at the Corps of Engineers, etc. Anyway,
So we're just being held
that's
hostage.
the story
to-
in a short synopsis.
May I ask a question?
You're out of order.
I'm not on the list, but I'll wait till the end then. It's a real simple question. Who owns that ditch?
Pardon?
Who owns that ditch? Does the mud own
The
it?
mud,
So my
the
question.
two muds own the ditch.
Okay, so question one.
River Plantation Mud owns 50% of it. East Plantation owns 50% of it.
So if a group of community neighbors decided they wanted to get together one Saturday afternoon and get in one of those ditches and clean it out, would they be trespassing? How would the mud district view that type of an action by the community?
I don't know, I'm not here on the weekend, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, so you're
But you don't
saying
know
there's
what.
a possibility.
Well,
I
we
don't,
may have a
the
liability
Corps of
issue.
Engineers can come and investigate anything, and you may have a whistleblower,
I understand. Okay, that's.
and all they'll do is come to the MUD and say, look, you did something, we're assessing you $25,000 a day from the day we found it.
I understand.
But isn't a ditch unsafe with those concrete
We
plates
don't
and it's
have
a
any
safety
say
issue?
so about it,
Well,
that's
I
the
know,
problem.
but it's
So how did
It's a
we get
safety
in this
issue.
position?
back in 1970 something.
Because when they first designed the golf course, they rerouted River Plantation Creek that shows on the topo maps of the 60s to start somewhere east of where we now started and meander around and come down almost straight down into the river. When they designed the golf course and the additional homes, they contoured the creek to suit their needs. That was sometime in the 60s. I don't know when they designed the golf course, but I know they had a big golf tournament here sometime around in the late 60s. So it was built then. At the time, in 1968, a bond was floated by the MUD district, which built the bridge over, what is this, Stonewall Jackson? Mm-hmm. Bridge over Stonewall Jackson and the concrete abutments on either side. Because there's a short 90-degree turn there. All that was going to do is wash out. Just like it does down at Stewart's Creek. As a result, that started in 1968. Well, that's fine. Prove it. We can't find any records of where any of that happened, other than the bond issue which called for that to happen. There are no drawings. We had an engineer for River Plantation MUD by the name of Beard. Mr. Beard passed away when? In the 90s? He was in charge of doing the original construction of the ditch, or the original design of the lining, etc. He failed to inform the board that they needed to go to the Corps of Engineers and or others, namely Fish and Wildlife and I don't know who else, to gather permission to do that. He's deceased. We have no record, we have no, in our efforts to try to find anything, we have been unable to find anything that he did that could anywhere near prove negligence so that we could go back on anything. So what happened was we first built that ditch in the 90s, or 80s and 90s.
80s.
And that's what happened. No permits were ever sought, nor were received. And that's where we find ourselves today.
If you can prove existence of the ditch prior to 1972, you could be grandfathered in, correct?
No, we've already gone that route.
Okay,
We've tried to go that route.
okay.
Sat down with them, with Kevin Brady's people and myself, and no, because that was only a small portion and we don't have anything to back it up, any plans or anything other than to say that's when it was.
Yes, sir. I know my time's up, but can I ask one question? One little.
Go right ahead.
Okay. It sounds as though the Corps of Engineers is trying to hold us hostage. And I think it's time that we all get involved at every level that we can with our elected officials. Because you're right, Kevin Brady will run from it if he can. But when enough of us get together and attend the Corps of Engineers and make meetings and set up meetings with them, they'll start answering. And especially some of the ones that are up for re-election. They will try to give you some sort of direction. Now, the direction is going to have to be with the Corps of Engineers. But if you can't get resolution and they're holding us hostage, and that threat that if we touch that ditch and try to prevent our neighbors from flooding and clean up the trash and the garbage, that they're going to assess you a $25,000 a day penalty, I think we need to go public with that. We need to televise it. We need to know who told you that, Mr. Jack, who verbally told you that if we touch that ditch.
The consultant that we hired.
And the consultant that we hired to help
That's
us.
right.
Okay, and may we ask who that might be?
SMC Consulting. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jack, do we have a number that we were assigned, a case number, like an SWG number?
We've
already been asked that?
We've already asked that question.
Okay. Let me ask you another question. Would you be opposed to some of us setting up a meeting with the Corps of Engineers?
Anybody can have a meeting with the Corps that wants. I've met with them for 25, 30 years.
So
on different matters. And they are strictly rule bound.
Right. And it's very hard to get a hold of them.
Well, the decision makers you will not get a hold of.
Well, Galveston is over this area.
That's exactly correct. Mr. Brian Bader, and he's been there for 25 years.
Actually had a
I've dealt
meeting.
with him numerous times.
I apologize for being late.
We've been through this, sir. I'm sorry, we've been all through this.
Gotcha.
I think we'd just be
But
rehashing.
if we had a meeting set up, would you object to us having a meeting?
No, anybody can have a meeting anytime they want to.
Okay.
My encouragement would be to write your congressman
Well, we're doing everything we
with
can.
a copy to the Corps with the colonel down there in charge of the COE.
Now, we tried to get a hold of Washington when we got the chaplain.
Yeah. Hear your cries. Okay.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you.
Anybody else? Bonnie?
Right here.
What are you hiding back there?
I put no on there, but I do want.
No, you didn't. You didn't put anything.
Okay. The Stewart's Creek, that is the Corps of Engineers also, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Stewart's Creek has nothing to do with anybody. That's county, state.
County and state, okay, 'cause there's trees down in it.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
I've been involved with that one too.
You know, you talk about core and everything involved with permits and all this other stuff for the ditch area here and everything coming through. I worked for Mobile Wall for 14 years in production, and 11 of them I spent out here on 1488 back to the Superior Wall field out there. They are so strict on this stuff. We went into one location there where we had a well site. We took a track hole and dug a ditch about this deep to drain water off that site. And when we came out looking to drill another well site over there, they came in and said, no, you have a creek running here that we have dug.
Sir, I've had dealings with them
I know,
for
I'm
50
just-
years
so
on the
they know
same matters.
that they are
And
very
believe me,
strict
they're
about
the
that.
same whether they're in Wyoming,
Yeah.
Texas, Louisiana, Utah, makes no difference.
Yeah, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
next item, Mike Bartlow. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Don't have many comments. I live in the ditch. I've only been around for a couple of years, and last week was real scary, so wanted to come down and find out.
You haven't seen scary yet.
Uh,
You wait till it comes up outside the ditches.
Well, he did.
Yeah, it
Right after we
did.
bought the house, it flooded him.
Yeah, we moved in a month before Harvey, and we flooded. during
Ah,
Harvey.
then you know.
Yeah. So the only question I did have is talking to some neighbors, as little as 4 years ago, it was being cleaned out on a regular basis.
Oh, we were cleaning it last year,
Okay.
or 2 years ago.
2 years. 2 years. It's just since the Harvey when the FEMA came in.
Until the quietus got put on us.
Okay.
Yeah, once you stepped into their nest, that's.
Yeah.
My comments are kind of a good segue right there. Or this event was completely different than Harvey. Harvey, that thing flows backwards. All our rivers flow backwards. We flood. We had a huge amount of rainfall in a short amount of time, and it highlighted some different areas in RP that need help, and that is drainage. And this ditch, we've had some great discussions on this ditch. The other one is Charleston. And Charleston, you guys have done a study on Charleston that's been in the minutes the last couple of months, and you've also mentioned a purchase of land in the minutes in the last couple of months. I can tell you right now, we can thank the RPCIA for starting that lawsuit on not building those houses on that, because we would have a disaster with all those homes up and down there and all those trees gone. So I implore you guys as board members.
Would you announce your name, sir?
You know who I am, Jack, Mike Lee.
Yeah, and your expertise.
It doesn't matter, I'm an expert. I can tell you my house would have flooded, you betcha.
Okay.
Everybody in here could have told you that.
Well, I can too, because I've been flooded.
Okay.
But
You've done your.
You paid your
I
dues.
lost a home.
Okay.
Okay.
And so you should, I'm not
I know
really
what you're
talking to
talking
I'm
about.
talking
You
to
don't
the
have to
board,
convince me.
because we know that you voted against it.
That's right.
And the rest of the board, I just implore you guys, this was a huge event that happened. Our ESD fire department went underwater. Our services right now are limited because of this flood. So I'll just end on a positive note. Thank you for having this at 7:30. Or 6:30, sorry.
Yeah.
So that the folks here could actually attend. Normally, the 4 o'clock meetings are pretty hard for all of us to get to.
Well, we had it
I did-
5
I'm
years
still talking,
ago.
I'm still talking. And we did have.
Excuse me, you've been talking for a while.
No, I haven't.
Let him finish.
Yeah, I can't even finish. Okay.
We had 3 minutes is what I said. Go ahead. You got anything more?
I was making positive comments, but I'll stop.
All right. The comment on your meeting at night, we tried it 5 or 6 years ago. We tried it for 3 or 4 or 5 months. We didn't have 5 people here. We didn't have any more here than we had before. The reason we have now, the CIA's gotten involved.
No. Has nothing to do with
Well, that's fine if they have. I mean, let's.
Well,
let's
I'm
be- let's
just
be happy
looking.
that they've got a room full of
Well,
people.
right now, the CIA has nothing to do with that.
I think most of
You got
it was
people
on
in here
next
that do
door.
not like
But I
it.
was wondering, what does the CIA have to do?
Nothing.
I'm
Nothing.
sweating.
Not a thing.
Anyway,
Everybody
we're
seems
going
so
to the next
angry.
item.
Or you seem so angry.
No.
I just have one item.
Well, no, we
Seem very angry at me, but can I just say one thing about the lining of the, I want to say ditches. Behind my house, there's a ditch, and Richard, I think, is familiar with it. And y'all relined a lot of this. It was a project going on, and I don't know if it ever got finished or not.
When we did the pipes.
All the pipes there's one behind my house that goes down the whole way to RP Drive and over.
When they were slaves.
are
Is
you
that-
talking about sewer pipe?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we're finished with that project.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has a
Well,
sinkhole that's
the
opened
one
up.
behind my house, and I've had Richard come out before, but it just didn't take or something. It caves in, it's still caving in, and there's just a.
Did you have to replace anything?
Behind her house is not the sewer line, she's talking about a totally different system. She's talking about
Okay.
storm drain.
Ah,
Okay.
Whatever it is, it was repiped, and it used to cave in.
That one was not repiped.
Well, they told me it was, or you told me.
dug a big hole. That's on the list to be repiped.
Well,
And the
We did-
house
we did some
behind her
temporary
took about
repairs
8
on it, but
inches
it's
of
not
water.
permanent.
So,
That whole main line has to be redone.
well, I sure was told that.
Well-
That part had been redone, and I asked, did y'all not, what
What's
kind
your
of
address?
reline? 621 Augusta Park.
Oh, one section that was done, but
Okay,
not
it's
the
the
whole
section
line.
behind my house,
Yeah,
and it continues to cave in back there, and even after the lining was done, and that's why I questioned the lining part being done, if that was the only solution for it, because
no,
it
that
just seems
wasn't
so
a lining
temporary.
job. That was a replacement.
yeah,
Well, Richard, who's responsible for that
we are,
sinkhole?
we are. That's a storm drain. There's two big lines over there. There's two 60-inch lines that run behind her house. They take all the water from the upper part of section 1 and divert it down through there and into the main ditch in the front by the golf course, then send it to the west ditch. Her line, one section, a 40-foot section of her line collapsed. That's the one that we relined. But we did not do the other one or the rest of that segment. That's part of another major project that's going to have to be done within the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, what good does it do that part to be done and not the other part? It seems like it just makes that.
Excuse me, I think this discussion would be best if you took it up with Richard in private.
Okay, I called Richard.
Okay? We have the Blyle engineer here, and he's here to discuss the rehab on the wastewater treatment plant.
Yes, sir. So I believe the board received a copy of the proposal that Mr. Wind, my
Yes.
manager, provided. So this is for the Unit 2 of the wastewater treatment plant. So Unit 1, there's an existing concrete plant. Unit 2 is a steel plant. Typically, steel plants are more of a package plant, and a transition as something is developing. Life cycle can vary 10 to 20 years depending on just kind of the makeup of your sewage and things of that nature. There's a lot of corrosion on the area right at your typical water line, from water going up to the tops of those steel tanks, and that can start to cause some structural issues. And so we did a inspection of those facilities, some of the pitting to do some welded plates on or some replacement of some areas, and then do blasting of the existing coating and do a new coating to be able to extend the life of that facility. The Unit 1 will have and does have capacity to be able to serve for the wastewater that is needed while Unit 2 is down. Our construction estimate for doing that is $831,000, and the engineering associated for survey and everything else that involves in that is $107,500 for an estimated total of $938,500. The portion that East Plantation was going to take care of, I believe, was approved at their meeting earlier in the month, and I believe that, if I recall correctly from the minutes from the last meeting, to East Plantation approving that River Plantation would follow in suit.
That's
unless
correct.
there was any other direction.
Well, it was also the fact that we were amending the proposal that was in front of us at the time. The proposal that was in front of us at the time included a couple of upgrades.
Yes, sir.
And the total was up over $1 million. And since that time, we negotiated and decided that, and we're still not through negotiating. You know that.
Understandable.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Since I wasn't at the last meeting? What were the upgrades that we did away with?
An increased area for aeration, which would help the microbial
Right?
contact. And the other thing was, I don't
You
remember.
know what it is?
I honestly don't. My apologies. I
It was,
Wasn't that
Richard,
talking-
do you
what was it,
talking
Richard?
about-
The hydro screen.
Oh, the screen, yeah. It's just to prevent rags and tags
It
and
helps prevent
limbs
some
and
of
all.
the solids and things that are
Getting
coming
in
in.
And that's
your bars.
considered an upgrade?
Yes, ma'am.
And
just
it's something that
so just
we
very-
arbitrarily do every time it rains anyway, so.
Just very basic, there's a bar screen that catches the rags. and
It was
debris.
$300,000 that didn't need to be spent at the moment.
It's a very fancy machine that basically pulls it out, reduces the manual labor, it keeps your sewage a little bit easier to treat, gives you a better product leaving the system.
But the main thing was to increase the aeration, I think, and that would increase our filtration, make better wastewater.
Right.
However, our wastewater is probably as good as anybody's,
Richard runs a great ship out here.
yeah. Well,
Y'all are very lucky to have him. I know there's a lot of districts that know about Richard, and they would be happy to take him off your hands. He runs a great ship.
And a heartbeat.
Well, are you out here proselyting our employees?
I'm just saying, you got to be grateful for this man because he does more than any of the general managers of other districts that I know.
All right, on to number 2 then. When are you through
Unless you have any other
praising Mr. Ramirez?
I'll tear him down on this next one. I can move on to the water well unless there's any more questions on the wastewater.
Yeah, go to the water well.
So on the water well, currently River Plantation has 3 wells. There's 2 larger wells and 1 smaller well.
well number 2, back in the late 90s, in 1996, I believe, it started to produce some sands, which is typically a sign of well failure. Weisinger water well drillers came out and put in a sand separator to try and help control that and kind of reestablish those screens to help prevent any more sand from coming. It's going to get into your water system, get into your pipes, and cause a lot of issues, and ultimately causes the well to fail. Recently, Richard started noticing that some sands were being developed again. Typically, when you put in a sand separator into a well, you're usually looking about another 10 years. So that was back in 1996. So that lasted way longer than its typical life cycle. So this little, what looks like salt or something up here, that's sand that came out of well number 2. And so Richard had Weisinger do a sieve analysis on the finiteness of the sand, and it came back that it is technically within the tolerance of what the screens allow to pass through, but getting the volume of it that we're getting causes concern. So typically when you start to see this, your well will fail within a couple of years. Sometimes you can get another 5 years out of it, but I've seen wells that have started to produce this and then the next week they're gone, wells that have produced this and they've lasted another 5 to 10 years. So Blyle's recommendation is to start proceeding forward with the design and construction drawings for drilling a new well to replace this well for whenever that well does fail. Because once a well fails, you're typically 6 to 9 months from start of construction to having that well online and being usable. And if this well were to fail, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, but the other 2 wells, they can provide the water that's needed for the system, but it would be very, very tight. Is that a fair assessment?
That's it.
And so the proposed well would be another 1,000 gallon per minute well, and the estimated construction cost for that is about $1.3 million for construction and just under $200,000 for engineering, for a total estimated cost of $1.48 million for design and construction.
All right. Anybody have any questions of the engineer?
That was 1,000 gallons a minute, you said?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, there'll be, only the board will ask the question, please.
You made a statement.
How many gallons a minute was it?
1,000. And that would be the design once you actually go through and develop the well.
Understood. We have the proposal. Very well. Shall we take up the first item? You may be excused if there's no questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
To continue with the proposal to construct or repair, basically, the sewer treatment plant as so recommended by the engineering. East Plantation, at a previous meeting, we basically said yes, but we're going to wait till EP decides whether they can do it or not. They decided, and now I recommend that we go ahead and approve the expenditure, which will be approximately 60% of the number.
They went ahead and approved it.
Oh, yes, yes,
Okay,
they've
great.
approved. So, I'll make a motion that we approve the engineering proposal and construction for the professional service for the rehab of unit number 2, subject to certain final negotiation on engineering fees.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Discuss and approve Blyle's proposal on the water well number 2. Now, since he's made his recommendation, the sieve analysis that Weisinger did proved that we probably don't have a hole in the screen and don't have a major problem looking at us in the face. However, our pump efficiency as measured has decreased to something like, well, it's down 21%. 78.5 to be exact, 21.5% decrease. It's within the purview of the general manager and his deal to pull the pump, rework it, and replace it. Estimated cost somewhere around $25,000. I recommend that that be done at the present time and that we hold the other in abeyance for a period of time. We will discuss it later. Do I hear a motion? I have made the motion, I assume,
I'll second it.
that we
Try the
replace the
Band-Aid
pump
first.
and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and hold recommendation number 4 in abeyance until further notice. All in
Second.
favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Show it unanimous. All right, we shall discuss now, we're gonna go into a closed session, executive session, and we will reconvene when we get out.
Mr. Jack, thank you for your time this evening, and we did not come here to point fingers or anything, that we came to offer help.
I understand.
Absolutely.
Anybody that can write the core or anybody can do anything,
Anything you can think of,
but
please don't.
believe me, I've dealt with that very fellow for too long.
Too long.
It's a thrill to have everybody here, I can assure you.
It did work.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't on Sunday. Don't they have a church
Fancy the collection.
It's dark outside.
Yeah, it's late. I hope there are lights outside, aren't there?
We still got a lot of things to go.
I never get to do that. I never get home till 7:30.
We had us in Mexico for 5 years, up the mountains. And all we had was built a new
Donald Trump to call.
Corvette,
Get Trump to call Corvette.
Carl,
Yeah. He doesn't have to get it.
Yeah, no.
Was it emergency?
They don't have an office
They don't have.
over in Caney Creek too?
Caney Creek.
Oh, really?
2 feet of water through the full place. So we have no fire department over there. They've got a mobile command center in the back with somebody lives them until Monday. We had our meeting in there.
What are they gonna do at the Monday?
They bring in like a double wide trailer. They're gonna house the firemen and the medics in there. And we already built a new fire station. So it's probably gonna celebrate that. But it's gonna be a year and a half.
Wow.
So that's never flooded before ever.
Okay, back from that. The operating budget for the coming year. I'm trying to find it.
I saw it in here earlier. Here it is. It's the one that's folded up.
That's 2019.
Oh, it is. Okay, sorry. I saw it earlier. It's in here.
Oh, it's the second page.
Is it second page of the 19?
Second page, second page, second page.
Yep.
Excuse me.
I think our capital expenditures is low. Oh, that's wastewater treatment plant. Do we have another capital expenditures for the? We just have one capital expenditures thing?
I don't see any CapEx.
Yeah, it's the very last one.
I see them, but I don't,
just wastewater treatment plant on this.
I think you just split it up
Okay.
by the month. That would just approximate our cost of the sewer treatment plant
And the well.
and meters, if we decide to go that route. You budgeted it,
So you budgeted meters and wastewater treatment plant?
yeah. And I think you budgeted the low dollar meters. Am I correct?
Sir?
You budgeted the low dollar meters?
The low dollar meters.
What's in the, what's the
do we have a
capital
spec that
expense?
Your
we
capital
issue?
expenditures show $83,000 per month for 12 months.
Okay, that is because the wastewater treatment plant is the only capital expenditures that you have authorized to this date. So I put that in there.
And that's just the wastewater
That's
treatment
just the
plant?
wastewater treatment plant. Until you approve the rest of them, they're not capital expenses.
I got you. Okay.
So you've
But the
got,
wastewater treatment plant just went down to 800 and something thousand, and we only pay 60% of it,
No, it's
right?
900.
9 something, and we pay
So
60.
this would be the full amount? Is that what this is
Yes.
reflecting, the full
remember,
amount?
we have to pay the bill, and then we bill EPUD
Right.
for it. So on
Do
the
you
capital-
show it as an offset in the revenues?
That is correct. If you look at
Okay.
your capital expense line, it's showing $1 million for the wastewater treatment plant project. But if you look at your income at the top, you'll see that there is $600,000 coming from our reserve funds to pay for our portion of that capital expenditure.
Okay,
Okay.
fine.
And the EPUD.
Understood.
I see it.
PUD revenue.
Okay.
Expanded for that, yeah.
Okay.
Richard, you've got the payrolls
Yeah.
in different places.
Yes, sir.
Has there been an inflation factor over this past year applied?
Yes,
How much?
3%.
Overall?
Overall.
So there's a line item in here that we just talked about that I think needs to be removed, based on what we just talked about.
Which line item?
16,500.
It's on the third page.
The GRP?
Mhm.
I know what you're saying. We still are the operator of the GRP, and we still have to file all the reports.
That's not what that says.
Payroll for the GRP?
That's not what it says.
What does it say?
Patrol GRP.
Patrol's misspelled, so
It's
I,
payroll?
when I looked at it, I thought it said payroll too, because I saw
So is
the
it payroll
LM.
or is it patrol?
It's GRP. What have you got there?
Where do you see?
Right here.
That must be payroll.
16500 account.
On page 3.
176500?
No,
16.
16.
Oh, it's just, oh, that's supposed to say payroll.
It's supposed to be sick
That's
payroll.
what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
okay, well, then
Okay.
it says patrol.
yeah, I see that. That's not,
Okay.
I'll make that correction.
I thought that was pretty reasonable for patrolling.
Well, I was thinking it wasn't real, but
I didn't even catch the patrol part. I knew what it was, and I just. By the way, and while we're talking about that, the credits were transferred
Okay,
from,
Chrysler too?
no,
No, from
from
RP Properties.
RP Properties to Chrysler. And now, did you get them into, did you deliver them to Chrysler?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, it's another $500 and another 2 months of wait while the one person that can file a certificate,
Gets those
it's a
changed.
big hassle.
So we have to have 2 elections, Richard?
No, that's the cost. They hit us with different stages when they bill us.
Okay.
Well, you show a balanced budget almost. The question is,
Can we stick with it?
can we stick with it? We're $120,000 over budget as we speak for this year, but the year's coming to a close. Just one more month of expenses to put in, but you don't have a whole lot of revenue to put in for it, so I expect us to be somewhere in the range of 100 and 135 in the hole by the end of the year. Hopefully, some of our water revenues will increase. I see nothing in there I wish to question. Entertain a motion to accept it.
I'll make the motion, we accept the 2019 fiscal year budget.
Is,
Yes.
and you,
I'll second it.
So it's
you second
19
it?
Because it starts in 19.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Budget approved. Next item. By the way, for you in the audience, there'll be over $2 million passed through these coffers this next year. All right, discuss security agreements for water and wastewater plants per Homeland Security / TCEQ. And I assume 7 will go right along with that. We can take them both up at the
Sure, if
same
you want to.
time.
Yes.
Okay.
The discussion, I'll take 7 up first. That has been just previously discussed. It was a verbal communication between myself and a member of the RPMUD board that we would wait and see what the cost was before we entered into any binding agreement or any agreement. And as of this date, there has been no agreement agreed to. Okay?
All right. Let me take number 6.
Number 6. Julie?
Basically, I just want to clarify something that was said at last month's meeting. TECQ nor Homeland Security requires on-site security in any of their laws, requirements,
Rules and
safety,
regulations.
rules and regulations. And, so, anyway, I just wanted to clear that up. So, because I think it was stated that, they want us to increase security. And, when I talked to them, and I think Richard talked to them also, they were recommending cameras, that we install cameras instead of personnel. And I think, Richard, you got quotes back in April from some companies for cameras. I'd like to see you present that next month at the meeting.
Yes.
All right. Any discussion on any of those items?
Nope.
Next item is discuss or approve the FEMA Army Corps of Engineers documents and future direction regarding the East Ditch Repair Project. Well, we have directed the environmental consultant that we have, who has carried the ball on this along, I think he's hired through Blau, to perform the stream assessment, which is an estimate of $12,000 just for that. And he is in progress with that. When he finishes, he is submitted to the Corps, and then they'll probably come back with all manner of questions and whatever. Knowing how they operate, it's very likely. So all it is the first step toward trying to satisfy the Army Corps of Engineers and this epistle that we have received with other requirements and rules, etc. Any discussion from anyone on that matter?
I think we beat that horse
Yeah,
tonight.
it's,
Discuss, next item is discuss or approve customer late fee and disconnect date. Anybody have a recommendation to change what it is today?
Well, I know we discussed it last month, and since it wasn't on the agenda, we didn't really have an opportunity to discuss it very long or make any motions or anything. I know Richard was included in the discussion last month regarding postmark dates and things like that, and especially now after
The mail
the
facility
mail
being
facility,
down.
you know, fell apart, and they have stated that right now the Postal Service can deliver express mail boxes and express mail flats. But if you get a bill from your doctor or something in a standard envelope, right now, chances are you're not going to get it for days and days and days. So, especially now, it's a concern that we make sure that our customers are getting their bills, and then when they turn around and mail it back to us, they have an opportunity to get credited properly for paying their bill.
Have you heard anything about the bills not going out on time?
Have you mailed them yet? Or
No, they get
they mail
mailed.
out the 29?
They get mailed up tomorrow.
Okay.
Check before you leave them. Make sure that they're gonna go out, because you know the mail facility, yeah.
They go through a different.
Well, I know they go through bulk rate,
mail,
but,
right.
yeah.
Okay. All right, and we discussed what the receipt of a late bill would be. Right now, we've got it set up to where if you're not paid on the 15th, you're considered late. Now, are we gonna stick with that, or are we gonna allow a grace period for postmarks?
That's a discussion
Yeah.
among us.
I would say if it's not here by the 15th, you're late.
yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
They can't drop it off here, correct?
right. Yeah, there's a
sure.
box out there, they can pay it online.
I've handed it to
Do
you.
you know offhand or approximately how many were late this month due to the fact you didn't get their checks on the 15th?
Not many. We usually receive,
Don't tell me not many, give me a number.
well, we usually receive 90% of all the bills by the 15th.
So 10% of 900?
960 something bills, yes.
But then you have to go a step further. How many of those that were late have always been late?
And then probably 90%,
That's,
or such has been the case in the past.
I mean, my opinion is if it's not here by the 15th, it's late.
Okay.
But I do want to clarify, when she stamps them that she gets them, I don't care what date she posts them in the computer, it's whatever date she stamps them that she gets them. That's the date we go by, not the date she posts them. Because I think, and I only had the video to watch, so I wasn't here last month. But I think Tom's point was, she had stamped it that she got it before the 15th, but didn't post it until after the 15th. I think that's what he was trying to say, was that it was marked that it was received here before the 15th. But she didn't post it in the computer till after the 15th, therefore it was late. That's what I got out of watching the video and what he was explaining.
Well, I think basically what we're saying is we leave the policy as it stands and still leave the general manager with a certain amount of discretion as to how he handles any individual complaint.
Okay.
Is that
Yep.
basically the summation?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, contact list, discuss board member contact list.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat that dead
I
horse
know.
again.
I am too. You are the most impossible person to get on.
I don't want to be contacted.
I know you don't.
I don't even
But
know
sometimes
how
you
to
need to
contact
be,
Why?
because
You are the
a lot
president.
of our discussions that we've had in places could have been dealt with, not a quorum, I'm not saying a walking quorum, but a lot of questions and issues could have been addressed outside of this meeting. I'm not saying a quorum, I'm talking personal issues, personal questions and things like that.
And if it takes a month to come back and ask you the question.
I've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Well, no, I won't this time, but 9 times out of 10 I've forgotten about it.
To be honest with you, I bounced this off some people that I know or that are on other boards of directors. And they give me a funny look when I tell them that I have no way of contacting any of the other board of director members because I don't have anybody's phone number or email address. So I just think that in today's society, there's nothing wrong with having the names and contact information of the other board members.
I think we're all adult enough not to have a walking quorum. I think we're all adult enough not to discuss things and I think we all know the definition.
Is it on the website?
Nope.
No.
But it's funny, if you go to the website, there is an email address listed for me. If you go to
Really?
Google, there's an email address listed for me here for the MUD.
And I thought the attorneys told you we needed to get email addresses for the MUD, for us here at the MUD. That's what they told us last month. No, 2 months ago.
We do have an email address for the MUD.
No, for us.
No,
For us
an
at
individual
the
email
MUD.
for me. And I tried emailing it and it comes back as invalid. But the fact that there's an email address listed with my name at consolidated.net.
Yeah. The attorney, Paul
I think
told
what
us.
they wanted you to do was set up a separate account.
Correct. That
So
says
so
Julie
that any
Gilmer at
communication
RPMUD.
between directors went to that
Correct.
one account.
I know, but we
It
didn't
might
do
be a
that.
different Gmail account, it might be a different.
No, that's not what they said. They said at RPMUD, they said Julie.Gilmer or J. Gilmer at
Whatever it is, it
RPMUD.
is separate and above anything else.
Correct.
And it's easy to do.
Right, but we didn't do it.
Well, but I
It's
mean,
been 2 months.
I've got
Or
email
has-
addresses all over the place for different companies
Well, I
I
do
work for
too.
and everything else, but
But I think
But they
they
all
were
go to
supposed to
my
set it
main
up
email.
through this server. And the whole point was because, did we not discuss this with him last time? He's shaking his head no. I thought we discussed it with him.
Not with
Not with
him,
Richard?
no.
We need to have email addresses set up through the RPMUD, through the attorney, yeah, through the RPMUD server. Per the attorney, what he recommended last time because of some new things that are happening September 1st that we've
And
already passed.
each of us can give a discrete address, if you will. They don't have to be your regular email address.
No, but he said to do them at rpmud dot,
That's
what is
fine.
ours, .org
That's
or
fine, but
.com,
I mean,
whatever it is.
that's fine, but it could be Julie Gilmer, whatever, at RPMUD.
Right.
And it could be separate from your normal.
Oh, yeah,
email
it
address.
is gonna be
That's
separate.
That's what I'm saying.
Because it's gonna go through here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm saying. It's a discrete address as far as you're concerned.
Yes.
No, what?
Yes. It's
No.
not open to the other, it's open to the board for everybody's
Yeah.
email.
Anyway,
Okay,
we're semantics.
okay.
What he's saying is, it's not your personal email address.
That's right.
Right,
So-
okay.
It's
Got
not your
it.
personal, it's
Right.
just
Okay, yes,
solicit from everybody an email address.
right.
So we're gonna
And post
compromise on that, and we're just gonna have an email address
Yeah,
in-house?
yeah,
That's what the attorney
Okay.
recommended.
that's what they recommend.
Okay. You use your.
I'm in the phone book.
But you don't answer your phone either. I have to call Richard to call you.
I may not be there.
Okay.
You don't have a phone number? Wow. You can't call your board president?
I still have to work for a living.
That's ridiculous.
I do too, but.
Anyway, we've done the executive session. Review the bookkeeper administrative reports. Anything anybody sees on there that I have reviewed them, so
I was gonna say, I looked at them earlier.
I didn't see anything.
I'm gonna go ahead and sign the balance of these checks, which I hate to do. Why do you keep giving me these checks that don't have them?
Now,
They will. Oh, okay, they want Richard.
huh? Oh,
Richard.
do you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about these CDs.
Pretty good interest. Do you see how much over the budget we have interest?
No, I didn't see that.
What was the interest? The interest on here was like $37,000 more than the other one. So that expected to go.
That's good. We've only got one due right now. It was due,
Better see if you can re-up them at the same price, because they're going back down.
yeah.
In fact, they may go negative.
Well, he usually has they usually have a sheet in here telling us which one earned.
He does. It's on the
They
second
got it,
page.
it's in there.
So,
Richard, I was gonna ask you about renewal on CDs. We only have one that was due this month, the next one's not due till December. But did we go ahead and up this one, the one that was due Tuesday?
Yeah,
We've changed, we've renewed it?
yeah.
at what interest rate?
I don't know, I have to get back with her. She just called me about that today.
Are we leaving it in Texas Capital?
They shop the rates.
Yeah, to get the best one. If we can't get it, then we'll transfer it to a Texas Star, Texas Class.
Texas class, okay.
They pay the highest rate thus far, don't they, Richard?
No, they
No,
were,
the other one does.
Pardon?
Bancorp.
Right.
And I don't worry about those that pay much higher, because you don't know
it's
how
gonna
long they'll
change
be in
anyway,
business.
yeah. else we got on the agenda?
Manager's report. Administrator's report.
So since we looked at the bookkeepers, you want to do the administrative reports?
Pardon?
You want to do the administrative reports?
Yeah, bookkeeping and administrative.
Okay, so Richard, can you update us on the sewer issues on Biloxi, and did you ever find the one on RP Drive?
Yes.
Okay, and we got those cleared up and everything?
Yeah, they're all cleared up, yeah.
Okay. The water, was it the sewer main or the water main that broke on the bridge at Mosswood?
Water main.
Water main, we got that fixed?
Yes.
What you had to replace over there, the water line?
Yeah, the bridge washed out.
Yeah, I know.
Behind it, and it tore the water line out with it.
And while you're videotaping this, I think a lot of the problems were people let their drains grow over with grass and that in their front yard. Well, I know in my area, they've let them grow over with grass, but as soon as people got out and started cleaning out the drains, the water started going down. So, and then some of those people that have extended their yards and not made ditches, they've extended their yards out to the street. That created more problems. I was just driving around Thursday and saw where all the water problems were, most of the water problems were, so. Some couldn't get out?
Almost.
Anybody have any further items they'd like to bring before the board in any pending business?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So approved.